I believe that most human beings are only living at about 40% of their capability.
Make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with the schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong.
And we live in a world where energy is even more valuable than intelligence.
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business.
Living that believing life. Out here living that believing life. Every day we living that believing life. Hustle like we living that believing life. Living life, yeah, so we grinding it out. Every single day we be grinding it out. Hustle like we living that believing life, oh. That believing life, oh.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you as well. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's live your best believe life and learn how to develop Spartan discipline. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1. Get in charge of your pain with David Goggins.
I believe that most human beings are only living at about 40% of their capability. So the mind has a governor, like a car. If you're driving a car and the car has a governor on it, the car may say 130 miles an hour, but the governor is set for 91. Once that governor sets in, you get to 91, that car starts doing this. The car wants to go. The car wants to go, but that factory said, we're not going past 91. We have a factory, a nice governor in our brain, and it's a survival mechanism. It protects us from pain and suffering. The second we feel that our mind says, oh no, this isn't fun. We should back off. We should sit down, find something more comfortable. And there's something about the mind. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, when I was facing my fears, my mind said, oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to get you, separate you from this feeling over here. Life's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here? And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment, you can answer those up questions and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, we're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this shit to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay. Let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that shit starts to work for you. You got to control yourself in that moment.
Rule #2, make a proper schedule with Jordan Peterson.
Make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with the schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They say, well, I don't like to follow a schedule. Well, it's like, well, what kind of schedule are you setting up? Well, I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, you know, and then I just go play video games, because who wants to do all these things that I have to do? It's like, wrong. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, practically speaking, what would it look like? Well, then you schedule that. And obviously there's a bit of responsibility that's going to go along with that, because if you have any sense, one of the things that you're going to insist upon is that at the end of the day, you're not in worse shape than you were than at the beginning of the day, right? Because that's a stupid day. If you have a bunch of those in a row, you just dig, you dig yourself a hole and then you bury yourself in it. It's like, sorry, that's just not a good strategy. It's a bad strategy. So maybe 20% of your day has to be responsibility and obligation, or maybe it's more than that, depending on how far behind you are. But even that, you can ask yourself, okay, well, I've got these responsibilities. I have to schedule the damn things in. What's the right ratio of responsibility to reward? And you can ask yourself that, just like you'd negotiate with someone who is working for you. It's like, okay, you got to work tomorrow. Okay, so I want you to work tomorrow. And you might say, okay, well, what are you going to do for me that makes it likely that I'll work for you? Well, you could ask yourself that, you know. So maybe you do an hour of responsibility and then you play a video game for 15 minutes. I don't know, whatever turns your crank, man. But, you know, you have to negotiate with yourself and not tyrannize yourself. Like you're negotiating with someone that you care for, that you would like to be productive and have a good life. And that's how you make the schedule. It's like, and then you look at the day and you think, well, if I had that day, that'd be good. Great. You know, and you're useless and horrible, so you'll probably only hit it with about 70% accuracy, but that beats the hell out of 0, right? And if you hit it even with 50% accuracy, another rule is, well, aim for 51% the next week, or 50.5% for God's sake, or because you're going to hit that position where things start to loop back positively and spiral you upward.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
You can outwork anybody, no matter how badass they are.
Freshman year in college, me and my boys start like this, like Christian, like organization.
People want to know how to stop the laziness, and they want to know how to stop the procrastination.
Lesson number 3, have a strong why with Eric Thomas.
Yo, E, you got to discipline yourself. I started looking at Mother Teresa, Gandhi, and I was like, yo, bro, Gandhi would go fast from sex, and he was married. He would fast from talking. You know, I just started watching these great people and was like, yo, these people fast, and not about fasting, like that's not the piece, but they were very disciplined people, and they would not allow their exterior world to dominate or destroy their internal world. I just like, yo, I want to get to a place where I can control me. My family members have grown. I lost an uncle who cirrhosis of the liver, brilliant man, but just drinking. And I was like, yo, I do not want to. My father was a substance abuser for years. I was like, yo, I don't want a life where something else is controlling me. You know, like for real, when I left home and said, I don't want to be controlled no more, like I meant that. Like I don't want nothing to control me but me. And so I got to put myself under extreme discipline to make sure I'm free. So when people see me, you get up at 3, you don't drink, you don't smoke. I'm not doing that because I think I'm better than nobody else, or I think you're going to go to hell because you had a drink. I want to control, I want freedom. And for me, disciplining myself means more freedom. And the less you discipline yourself, people who, and I told my son the other day, I was like, yo, son, I don't not want you to have fun. I just seen a history of people who just have fun. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year. Yeah, they're the people who
Thursday night, Friday night.
Oh, man, every night. Yeah. They're the people who end up in their 20s having a great deal of fun, but in their 40s and 50s, they working for somebody, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with cleaning toilets, but they doing something they don't want to do for the rest of their life, and they can't retire because they played so much. You know, so for me, I just look at Venus and Serena, Michael Jackson, when he used to like 5 and 6 just dancing all night. I just think the more a man discipline himself, the greater, it don't mean it's going to happen, but the greater the probability that he has this sense of freedom.
Rule number 4, develop a good morning routine with Robin Sharma.
The way you begin each day sets up the way you live each day. I mean, the Spartan warriors said it so well. Sweat more in training, bleed less in war. And if you want to be literally undefeatable in business, literally unstoppable in life, you really want to dial in your morning routine. And so you want to do things like starting the day sweating, because that releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, that repairs brain cells from stress. You want to sweat because that's going to increase your metabolic rate, which is going to give you energy. And we live in a world where energy is even more valuable than intelligence. You want to, in your morning routine, take the time to write in a journal so you actually can detect your values, reconnect with your goals each day, get to know yourself even more, because awareness is the beginning of transformation. And you want to get your morning routine right, so you take some time at the front end of your day to learn. Because as you learn more, you know you're going to achieve more. And as you understand better, you can achieve larger.
And rule number 5, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is get disciplined with Jocko Willink.
How many people are like involved in a startup right now? They're starting up, right? Cool. So a startup is like a little kid, right? It's got all this potential. It's got all this potential. What happens with a little kid that never gets disciplined? Yeah, little kids that don't get disciplined turn into Satan. That's what happens. And guess what? Now, in the beginning, like a startup, like a baby, when you got a baby, you got to do everything for it in the beginning. You got to hold its hand. You got to make sure everything's perfect the way, whatever it takes to get that thing, keep that thing alive. You got to do it. But once that thing starts to expand, well then you better start imposing some discipline on it, or else that thing will turn into Satan.
Now we have a special bonus clip from Terrell Owens on how to outwork everybody that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching the video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1, where do you need to get more discipline? Number 2, how can you make your morning routine even more powerful? And number 3, what is your strong why? And if you promise to take action after watching this video, don't just watch another video, you gotta do something after watching it. Give me a hashtag believe in the comments and make that promise to yourself, then go keep it.
The third leading receiver in the history of the NFL isn't starting as a junior in high school until
Nor
this guy.
senior, nor senior year either.
Are you kidding me?
No.
You didn't start as a senior in high
No.
school?
I
That's
did not.
bananas. So you obviously, wow, like, isn't that a lesson? All you young athletes that follow me, hey, just because it's not where it needs to be right now doesn't mean it can't get there. And
Exactly.
you entrepreneurs that are following me,
Exactly.
you may not be on the varsity of business yet. This is one of the all-time greats in the history, and you're talking about, by that time, most guys are being recruited. They got 8, 9, 10 schools coming after them.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. So what did you do? Just like every time you get an opportunity, you just took advantage of it? Is that what would happen?
I did. My head coach at the time, Steve Severese, he basically, like during the course of the school year, we have probably like a 30 to 45 minute period, what they call it, enrichment period, where we can either study work on other subjects kind of to help get your grades up, things of that nature. I used that time to go down to lift weights. So he basically went around to, again, they sent something around to all the teachers that basically said, yeah, if a player wants to go out, if you guys grant him, let him get a pass to go down to the weight room or what have you. And so that's literally what I did. I took those moments, those 30, 45 minutes of enrichment period, talked to the teacher, went down to the weight room, and that's where I started to put in extra work just to kind of get myself bigger, faster, and stronger.
Is that always a theme through the whole 15 years in the NFL?
Yes, that was the start of it. I was a kid that really put in hard work. I wasn't the most athletic. I wasn't the most sought after. I wasn't the most highly recruited coming out of high school, going into college. Not only did I work out in my spare time when I was in high school, those 30, 45 minutes, I didn't go home during the summer after my freshman and sophomore year of school. So I got the key from the strength and conditioning coach. I did the same thing. Got the key to the weight room.
Here we go.
Did the same thing. I would go in. That's how I got stronger, because I was in there by myself. So I had to lift off by myself.
Yeah.
I had to be careful because I was in there by myself.
No one spotting you.
Nobody spotting me. So that's how I got stronger. So these are some of the things that I did unbeknownst to the world out there in terms of how I made it.
This is so good because you outworked everybody. It's also the things you do when no one's watching. Like when you played, one of the things everyone would say, oh, his physique.
Right.
Now you know where this comes from.
It doesn't happen overnight.
That's awesome to hear.
If you want to know the laws of the universe that you must know, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The number one thing that's going to change your life, the only thing that will change your life, change your business, change your money, change your relationship,